Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here, as always, with you. It is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, 7 a.m. here Central in Nashville, Tennessee. This is a live morning space for artists, filmmakers, musicians, and creators who are navigating the real world of making art. As I always say, on this show, we talk about positivity, but we don't talk about the fluffy kind. We're not interested in that. We talk about what actually stops artists from moving forward, the struggles we all face, and how to move through them with clarity and purpose. We'll also highlight good things happening in the industry, share ideas, suggestions, and practical advice, and most importantly, have honest conversations. This is a live show, so if you're here, feel free to ask questions, join in. This is a place to reset, get grounded, and start the day moving forward as an artist. And good morning, everyone. Welcome in. I hope you're all doing well. It is, like I said, it is Tuesday here, but I got to tell you, we are in a cold front. We had incredible weather last week, like 80 degrees, 70s, and today is in the 20s. And yesterday we had snow flurries, and now on the weekend it's going to be in the 80s. So I don't know what's happening here, but damn you, Trump. Hope you're all doing well out there. We are really in a good moment right here. There's a lot of creative things happening in the world. There is the way art is being created now because of AI and because of the fear that some people have, and some companies are actually really on board now with wanting to really share uh, their product, but in a different way. They want to take their brand and they want to be able to explore with it. They want to be able to have it be influenced in a way that can influence society with their brand, but using storytelling, using branding skills, using AI. And it's a different world right now. People are really just companies, especially, are really exploring this whole thing of AI and branding and storytelling. It's no longer the marketing companies. You got to bring people into a story. You have to have something else, and that's becoming a huge thing, especially with verticals. I could see brands now just having their own verticals and just hiring a team to bring people into their verticals, but while mentioning their products on everything. So it could be like a soap opera. And remember, soap operas came because they were during times when they were trying to sell soap. And that's where they came soap operas. And they were just telling stories to sell their soap to women mainly at that time. And now it seems like we've come all around again, and now we're going back to selling products using stories and soap operas. That's what verticals are. They call them verticals. They call them mini stories or I don't know. There's different terms that they call them, but they're all basically verticals. Instead of being shot like a horizontal film, they're shot like this for their phone, and they're stories. They're just movies, all types of movies, horror films, and everything. But now brands are starting to do this. So it's a wonderful time to be a creator right now. Things are really going strong in that world. Hollywood is sort of kind of picking up a little bit. I think people are spreading the love to other states, and other organizations and other production houses are being able to produce products now and projects, because I think Hollywood is kind of a talk. It got itself out of the game a little bit. Well, they'll come back. I'm sure. I'm sure there are people right now talking about it, especially with the whole new Warner Brothers and Paramount and Skydance and Netflix and all these big organizations that are putting out good content. I think that it's going to be a wonderful future right now for artists, especially for storytellers. If you're a storyteller, if you're a director, if you're a writer, this is the time to get out there and start getting your name out there and start talking about what you do and start sharing your work and giving your 2 cents on how you can help a product, a company, a brand with storytelling. And it'll be a fantastic time if you can spend all day long just working on cameras and film and story, and then you can always have your passion projects as well going. Who knows, that might become your passion project. It's an amazing time right now. And as artists, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is environment, because it's such an important thing where you hang out and who's in your environment. It's the whole thing that we talk about here on this show many times that have been said since Jim Rohn said it, I don't know, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. You are the five people that you hang out with. So if you hang out with five people that are constantly struggling and constantly complaining, and artists that aren't creating art and doing what they're, you know, people that are just talking a lot but aren't really creating a positive thing, you're going to become that. It's just the way it is, and you have to kind of audit your circle. Who's around you that's creating the things that you want to create, and who's inspiring you around, so we're going to talk about environment today. And as artists, creators, and entrepreneurs, we often focus on talent, skill, and opportunity, but we don't talk enough about environment. Your environment can either fuel your creativity or slowly suffocate it. The people you talk to every day, the energy around you, the conversations you allow in your space, and even the physical places you spend your time all shape how freely you're able to think and create. When you're in a healthy creative environment, ideas flow easier, risks feel safer to take, and you start believing bigger is possible because you're surrounded by people who believe in growth instead of limitation. I mean, this is such a massive thing, just and it's so basic. If you have a spouse that's making you feel like you're wasting your time, gosh, I mean, I can't tell you what to do, but you have a very serious situation, especially if art is so important to you and you love it more than anything else. It's really just a tragedy. It's what it is. So you have to either do two things, and we've talked about this on the show as well. You can handle them, and figure out how to navigate, a relationship and continue to do your art and stay together. So you have to handle it. You handle it by having a serious conversation and saying, listen, I really want to do this and I need your support. Or you can just disconnect. And this is a more serious thing, obviously, right? If it's a family member, if it's your parents, if it's a sibling, your best friend, uh, a spouse, a partner that you've been with for a very long time, somebody that you work with, all these things can be just cancers into your environment if you're not able to spot them, because people use the excuse and they become soft and they become reasonable about just about anything, and they'll say things like, oh, it's just the way they are, we've gotten used to it. No, it's not. They're poisoning your environment, so you don't get used to it. Don't get used to it. That's not an excuse. Handle it. Trust me, you're going to feel better. And if you offend them and they go away because they're offended, that's okay. That's okay. And then you can create in a space that's clean, in an environment that allows you to navigate through it creatively and freely. One of the hardest but most necessary skills to develop is learning how to recognize when someone in your environment is quietly, here's the thing, is quietly holding you back. You don't know it. Sometimes it's not obvious negativity, it can be subtle. It might be the person who never acknowledges your wins, the one who changes the subject when you share progress, or the one who plants small seeds of doubt disguised as being realistic. I did an article, I posted, not an article, a post of a few paragraphs that I wrote for on a Facebook post the other day about being acknowledged. You post something or you tell someone something that's happening and something positive, and you get back a few words. They don't acknowledge the fact that you just said that, hey, I just booked a gig, or I just did this, or I just did that, or I'm shooting a project on Thursday. No, oh, okay. No, hey, congratulations, that's cool. And not that we need it, because there's a thing called, the code of honor, and you do follow. I follow the code of honor, and one of them is, don't need. I'm paraphrasing it, but don't need to be liked, right? You know, don't don't have the desire to be liked, if and just keep doing your thing. So if they don't support you, it's kind of messed up, right? But if they're in your environment constantly and you don't feel that support and they themselves aren't even achieving their goals, you're going to be sucked into it. And it can be disguised as being realistic. I think that was more, in the older days. I think people did a lot of that. I think, I'm sure it happens right now too, when people say, you got to have something to fall back on. That can be very suppressive, especially if you have momentum going and you're doing well and you feel confident and you've been creating, and someone comes and tells you that, that's it's just a really nasty thing. Another thing is when you're having a little bit of hard time and you're struggling and somebody says to you, "We're rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I really am rooting for you." That's such an invalidation. They're rooting for you. It's like no, just say, "Hey, you're doing great. You're doing great. I'm sure you're gonna be great." And that's all you have to say. You don't have to go into a whole speech, but don't tell them, "Hey, come on, I'm rooting for you. I believe you." It depends on how you say things like that, right? And when it comes from someone that is not even doing well themselves or is having struggles themselves, and that becomes even harder. That becomes even harder when someone's not doing their art and you're struggling trying to do yours, but then they criticize you trying to do your art, but they themselves aren't even doing anything on their own side. I'm like, get the hell out of my face. And feel free to say that, get out of my face with that. I'm not, I'm not that, I'm creating here. I'm doing something special, right? And it's okay. And as an artist, you have to protect your mindset like it's part of your instrument, because it is. Your confidence, your focus, and your belief in yourself and are directly connected to what you. Read that sentence again. Your confidence, your focus, and your belief in yourself are directly connected to what and who you allow consistent access to your mental space. Those that are in your mental space consistently, if you're allowing them there, then you have to be responsible for telling them, "Hey, in this environment, you gotta chill, bro. You gotta chill. We're not playing that game. I'm not playing that game with you." And it's okay. It's okay. You gotta take a deep breath sometimes and be like, "Okay, I'm gonna say this. This is not gonna be popular, but I'm gonna say this." And you take a deep breath and you say it. And do you know that 99% of the time it's actually okay? Because communication is the solvent to all. Communicating is the solvent to everything. You can solve any problem by communicating. By communicating. Sounds simple, but it's 100% true. Sometimes we avoid having conversations with people because we don't want to have to say something. But you know what? Saying that thing solves the problem. You're only holding on to the problem. You're only building on the problem. And it counts a lot for you as an artist. So creating the right environment doesn't always mean cutting people off dramatically. It often means intentionally bringing spaces where you feel safe, building spaces where you feel safe to grow. So, yeah, I'm not saying go and cut off everyone that is suppressive to you. You can't always do that, but you do have to find peace in your environment. And if someone is not creating your peace, and it can be a romantic person, it can be, you have to come home and have and not even have a conversation. My wife will come home from work, say, "Hey, hi, honey." She'll go put her stuff in. She'll go do. We're hanging out. We're not like in each other's spaces. Now we've been married a long time. This month is going to be 23 years, but that doesn't mean that we have to be always in communication. Now we talk a lot of communication going on in our environment and in my life in general with everybody that I know. Why? Because communication is a solvent to all. So you got to get out there and do that, right? So when you're really uh, protecting that environment and you're building a place to grow safe, your art just becomes better. That could mean surrounding yourself with other creators, mentors, or even just people who respect your discipline and your vision. The truth is, creativity needs oxygen, and supportive environments provide that oxygen. If you feel someone walking in the room and you suddenly don't feel good, you gotta be in present time to spot that. You have to know, why am I not feeling good? Why is this person making me feel like I'm not worthy or something? Why do I feel this way? I feel I shouldn't feel this way, you know? And what do? Well, we make excuses, right? We kind of say, well, that's the way they are. I love them the way they are. It's just, what are we going to do? You can't change somebody. You can only just tolerate them. Well, what you're saying is basically that you're allowing poison and toxins into your environment. You're just saying, they can destroy me. They can make my peace unsettling. They can dirty up my environment. It's okay. I'm just going to take it. That's what you're saying. Now, I know that pulling that band aid sometimes is not easy. You got to take deep breath. You got to have people around you. You got to have tools to apply in your life that are going to make you more confident, more able, more wanting others to want you to be around them, especially successful people. Successful people like to hang out with successful people, right? And haters like to hang out with haters, right? They say, misery loves company. Well, that's kind of a real thing, right? You are the five people you hang out with. You're hanging out with five losers. Guess what? You's a loser, right? It's just the way it is. It's harsh, but it's the fact. So if you got a nice group and you got four people that are active and they're doing, and then you got one person going in, what are y'all doing? Why y'all always trying to make it or be successful? Why y'all trying to do that all the time? There's your missing link, or that should be the missing link. That's the link that's breaking up the chain. You got to remove that link. And you don't have to be mean, but you could say, hey, listen, I love you. You're a good person. But in this environment, we're creating something here. And if you can't handle that, then you need to go, or you need to get involved. And if they get like, well, I don't, it's okay. I understand. I love you again, but this is what's happening. You can't do that. I can't allow it. You don't have to yell. You don't have to curse. No screaming. Very relaxed conversation. You communicate clearly exactly what you want to say, and clean up your environment. Start auditing your environment. I had somebody do that. I do some counseling and stuff, and I'm sitting with somebody, and I'm like, well, who are the five people you hang out with the most? Well, I got my kids. Okay, great. The kids are fine, right? The kids make you feel stressed out? No, I feel great when I'm around them. Yeah, I have my husband. Oh, my husband's fantastic. He's great. My wife, yep, nope, she's great. You audit these, and then they got to, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, my sister, she's kind of sometimes is negative, and sometimes she'll say things and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, what did she say? Well, she says that I need to have something to fall back on. That this is it's a really hard business, and she's just being realistic. She cares for me, and she doesn't want me to get hurt. Okay, well, what does she do? Well, she doesn't do much. She doesn't do anything. Okay. Has she ever done what you're trying to do? No, she's never done it. Then why is she advising you on it? Why is she advising you on something she's never done? And they were kind of like, she cares for me. She doesn't want me here. If she cared for you, she let you do the thing that you are in the middle of. And then she should go do something herself. You see my point? It's not an easy conversation, but man, is it true? And Kimberly Maurer says, hello, Kimberly. Good morning. She says, surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers who see something in you when you cannot see it yourself. Boom. That's what I'm talking about right there. And that's what you have to find. If you get a group of people that are just constantly supporting you and helping you, and you're doing the same for them, do you know how powerful you can become? You can actually achieve your dreams. Dreams are meant, we're here, right? We're alive now. I told this to someone the other day. I said, we're not always waiting for something. People are always like, oh, I'm gonna wait. I had somebody say to me, well, I'm waiting for my income tax checks come in, so then I can do this. I'm waiting for this to happen. I'm waiting to get a new job, and then I can do this. I'm waiting to get a new headshot, and then I could do this. No, you're not waiting. Just start. Just start. You got an old headshot? Use the old headshot. Just start. You know, whatever the case may be. So it's difficult to have sometimes these conversations with people because they don't see it themselves. So that it may come off like you're just being an asshole to them, but you have to be able to frame it in a way that they'll feel confident enough to know that you're coming from a place of passion. You are not going to give this up. So stop trying to tell me how to do it. One, you haven't done it. Two, you've never helped someone to do it, right? And three, as someone who loves me, you should just be supportive and go on your life and go handle the things that you want to handle, right? Get out of my business, right? And this is why I probably don't have a lot of friends, but I tell you what, I have thousands and thousands of supporters and thousands of people in my corner, and I have a lot of acquaintances that are super supportive. And you know what? I run into people that are negative, and I don't hang out with them. And they may have a social veneer on the outside. They look like they're just great and in a wonderful place. But I guarantee you that that little bit of negativity that comes out of them that they can't seal up all the time, that's where you have to spot it. And this is why it's so important to be in present time and to be clear headed. Eat well, don't take drugs, don't drink alcohol, take, vitamins, eat vegetables, eat meats, eggs, things that get your body and your mind clear. So this way you can take deep breaths in the morning and be like, okay, who's going to try to stop me today that I need to kind of like tell, excuse me, I'm in the middle of something. Get your goals down, write them down. I want this, I want this, and I want this. Put it in a little paper, put it in your pocket. And then every day you put it out. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. What do I have to do today to get closer to this? Okay, number one, get away from those people because they are nasty. Get a new job, start a new job, get my resume ready, and that's important. Kimberly says, let them. Your biggest haters are your biggest fans. Yep. What you are not changing, you are choosing. Always speak and lead with intention, and always choose wisely. Impact over visibility, always. 100%, Kimberly. Thank you so much for those comments. I appreciate it. It's so true. You spend your entire life with dreams, building something, and someone new may come into your life. It may be a romantic person, it may be a sibling, it may be you may actually wake up one morning and realize that a parent, which is really hard. Imagine your mom or your dad just being incredibly negative, and you just having to take that negativity. You have to kind of sit down with them and say, look, I want to help you, I want you to be happy, but I can't be with this negative environment all the time. That is not easy. Trust me, that is not an easy thing. So that could mean surrounding yourself with, or like Kimberly mentioned, surrounding yourself with creators and other people that are supportive. The truth is that creativity needs oxygen, as I mentioned, and supportive environments provide that oxygen. When you start choosing environments that challenge you, support you, and inspire you instead of drain you, you'll notice something powerful. Your output improves, your confidence grows, and you stop just dreaming about the life you want. You start building it. You start building it. Why? Because you don't have that negative energy, that negative thing around you to provide, to give. Remember, it's a cancer. It's cancerous, and people have gotten ill from being around people that are negative. That may sound, doctors may roll their eyes to that, but I got to tell you, negativity in your environment can weaken your immune system, your body. There's been tests. You can actually go look at a lot of tests. Matter of fact, there's tests of I don't know if you ever seen the test about where people have been, they took just water and they clear water and they gave this water like a lot of love in another room, and then they took this water and they cursed at this water, and this water turned brown. They did the same thing with plants. They just took the same environments and they put plants in two completely different environments. One was given love, water, attention. It was, they were talking to these plants, and the other one they were like cursing them out. They were like, it's a cruel test, but they wanted to see this living thing. These plants all died. I mean, you can research these things. It's unbelievable. Words matter. The words we say to one another really affect us, and it changes the chemistry in our bodies if it's negative and we feel sick. You ever walked into a room and you saw somebody that you really didn't realize how much, but you started feeling a little bit like, oh God, there, and I gotta put up I gotta put up a face. No, you don't. No, you don't. Just say hi and then just walk away. Go get yourself a drink. Not alcoholic. Just get yourself a nice beverage, a cool, refreshing beverage, and just start talking to someone else. Start building that team around you. All right, friends, want to thank you so much for being here this morning. Kimberly, thank you very much for your comments. A few people here on my other platforms, thank you so much for your comments. I'll get to these. These are harder to get to, but I'll get to those as well. And the others here, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day out there. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. And as always, peace.